of scattered it through the atmosphere. That's less concentrated and reflects less directly into your eye. So anyway, I'm adding that white, well, not white, it's not quite white, but that really lighter bluish gray to the rocks back there to really make it pop and give it a lot of contrast, like more contrast than anywhere else in the image is on that one area right there. And I find that the area of greatest contrast is definitely where you want, if you want anywhere in your painting that you want the attention to go, it's got to have the most contrast in one way or another. It doesn't just have to be value. It also works for edges, like how hard the edge is. Eyes are typically very drawn to that, as opposed to soft edges, which is another technique I used in this. The edges around the monster are pretty soft, and that also plays into atmospheric perspective and things like that. But it's also because I didn't want him to be... I mean, he's pretty dominant in the image right now. He's probably the first thing you see, for sure. But I didn't want to give him any more dominance that I already gave. So always be thinking about if there's anything in your image that that you want to have the attention, or that you want to not have the attention. Like those claws in the front at the beginning, I had them really, really bright, and they shouldn't have been. I barely want them to even be noticeable. So they're pretty low value. The contrast is pretty low because they're not that important. They do help to lead the eye, though, and they really give a sense of perspective, which is good. And contrast goes for a lot of other things too, like I was saying earlier, not just value and not even just edges or sharpness, but you can also have contrast in size, contrast in shape, contrast in color, anything like that that's vastly different than everything around it is going to grab the most attention. And that sounds a little bit obvious, but as a general rule, you want to think about that kind of thing when you're telling your story. So I'm finishing up here, actually, it looks like. I really hardened some of the edges of the teeth there and did the lasso tool around the teeth and did some gradients of the blue light from above and the red light from below. It really helps to bring out that shape. And now I'm kind of bringing out some of the edges as well on the eyes on that side of the face there. It's looking pretty good at this point, I think. I think once I got to that point where I was adding the specularity to the rocks up there, I was like, okay, that was the one big problem that I felt like I needed to solve. Oh, that's another thing too. Is I know that a lot of other artists say this too, but and I don't think I do it enough. But whenever you can, flip your canvas horizontally when you're working, and that's under image at the top, and I forget exactly what stream of menus it is, but if you flip your canvas horizontal often, it will help you to be able to spot problems in your painting that maybe you can't see after working on it for a while. So like if your perspective is off or your anatomy is off, then it should pop out pretty obviously to you after flipping the canvas. Yeah, see, now after, really defining the forms and taking the lasso tool to the main kind of wrinkles that I wanted to pop out on the cheekbone and the eye area, it's really defined pretty well. I've got the eyelids and how it's kind of sunken into the skull, but you see the eyelids popping out just a little bit, getting a little bit of the highlights there. And now I'm adding some highlights to the teeth, which is just a little hard brush, just a quick scribble. It doesn't take much. You can imply a lot by not doing very much. You know, don't be afraid. Be confident with your brush strokes as much as you can, because it's really easy for somebody to pick up on if you're not confident with the strokes you make. So as much as you can, practice doing, well, I guess the best way to say it is how my teacher, Chris Oatley, always says. He says, make every single stroke count. Make it, think before you do every single one. Be as deliberate as you possibly can. Use as few strokes as you possibly can. And I'm a little bit out of practice with this, I think. And it's good. It's really, really great to do exercises. A really great one. I forget who invented this, but some of my classmates and friends had been doing this study for a while, where they try to paint an apple with 5 brush strokes, and they do it once a day. And it's really great because it makes you very, very intentional about every single mark you make. And that is being confident. And it's saying, even if you mess up, it's like happy accidents happen. Like Bob Ross says, you don't have mistakes, you just have happy accidents. And it's to some degree, it's definitely true. It's part of what makes it look painterly. I mean, you definitely want to be intentional, but I think you're probably going to have a better looking painting overall if you just kind of let the mistakes go a little bit, you know? Don't be so afraid to mess up that you're afraid to, move. Definitely avoid that. Just let yourself suck, basically. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but be okay with not having a perfect thing. I can be a perfectionist sometimes, and I always feel like I have to do a better, the best painting I've ever done every single time I go to paint. And I found that although it seems like it would be, this great motivating factor, and it is sometimes, it can be really crippling because you're so afraid to make any marks that you get nothing done. So you don't want to do that. Just accept that every painting isn't going to be the best thing you've ever done. There are definitely going to be times when you make a mistake, but people won't necessarily see that. I mean, when you're confident, even if it's a mistake, you give the message to people, I meant to do that. So it doesn't look like a mistake. I mean, there's a lot of balancing act with this, obviously, just like everything else. I mean, you can't just have like a painting full of mistakes and call it, a masterpiece. Well, some people do, I guess. But I assume if you're watching this video that you are not one of them. But the point is that you emanating confidence makes people want to follow your lead. They believe you. They're on your side, generally speaking, with this kind of thing. So, yeah, I just added in a claw, another finger right there for a second, just to see if it, would look a little bit cooler. And that's a little bit late in the game. Usually I don't typically add something like that this late. But yeah, just wanted to see if it was cool, and I took it out because I felt like it blocked the flow of the image too much for where I want the eye to go. I kind of wanted to be leading up to these 2 boys over here. So Yep, just adding finishing touches, just clearly defining those two kids a little bit better. This was slightly inspired. I don't know if any of you have played the game. This is a little off topic, I guess, but I don't know if any of you have played the game Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, but I just finished playing the game, and this is slightly inspired by that, I'll admit, but it's a fantastic game. It's beautiful. I mean, it really informed me artistically. I learned a lot from it. Took a ton of screenshots and gawked at them for a while. It's great. I would play it again, too. I mean, the storytelling's phenomenal. It's great. Definitely give it a look. It was on the Steam Summer Sale a couple days ago. It shouldn't be anymore, but yeah, coming to a close here. For the most part, I think I am finished. Just tightening up those edges a little bit more, adjusting the lighting, but for the most part, it's pretty much done. You'll probably notice that the final image is a little tiny bit different than the end product you see in the video, but all I really did was bump up the contrast a little bit and add a few tiny nitpicky details that don't really matter that much. So I hope you guys got a lot out of the video. Sorry for not including that last little bit, but I do tend to just get a little nitpicky and start adding crazy stuff like that. But just drop me a comment below if you have any questions or concerns or anything you want to know from me, and I'll do my best to answer. This is something I really like to do, so just please ask me anything you want if you have any questions, and feel free to just shout out if you want to talk. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and happy painting!